Great to be back here in Volusia County. We got a great announcement here. We got a lot of great people. I'm reminded as I pull in here, it's like, you want to know the who's who of Volusia, just look who has names on these buildings, because like all the guys I know, they have their names on the buildings for all the generosity. But we're really fortunate to be here at Daytona State College. Today is this morning, I think it was probably a rough morning for a lot of Florida State Seminole fans after last night. We want all the teams to do well, and I also know we've got a lot of UF fans in this area, and Saturday was not the best day for that either. So you see what happens as these things go. We're here joined by the Commissioner of Education in Florida, Manny Diaz, as well as our State University System Chancellor, Ray Rodriguez. Jeff Fiesel is the President and CEO of Halifax Health here in Volusia County. We also have, of course, Thomas Labasso, President of Daytona State College. Senator Tom Wright is here, Representative Webster Barnaby, and then Representative Trace Tremont. They've got a youngest, and their fifth child. I just took photos with them, 6 months old. The good thing about it is because of what they've done in the legislature, everything they're buying for that kid, the strollers, the cribs, it's all tax-free now. No tax on any baby items. That's good. And then we have one of our nursing students here at Daytona State College that you'll hear from, Alexis Marie Shea. And so I'm really glad that she came here. We've done a lot since I've been governor to promote workforce education. And our view is, even though we have the #1 rated public university system in America, Forbes just rated University of Florida #4. Wall Street Journal, I think it was earlier this year, ranked University of Florida 15th best overall, #1 public university in America. And we've seen a lot of great things that have happened with our universities all around the state. And of course, we don't raise tuition. So the tuition is the same as the day I took office, and it remains affordable for people. We're not going to do that. And so you get a good education, but you get it cheap. And I think part of the problem with higher education over the years is people are paying an arm and a leg. They're going deep into debt and basically mortgaging their future, which, if you end up with an engineering degree from MIT, you're probably going to be able to figure that out okay. But some of these degrees in like zombie studies and all this stuff, it's like, are you kidding me? The seas aren't parting for you. And so while we want to promote that, higher ed, we want it to be focused on really strong academic disciplines and not some of the fluff. We also want it to be affordable. That's not necessarily true throughout the rest of the country. But we also made the observation that there's more than one way to be successful, particularly for young people, and a 4-year brick and ivy traditional university is not the only way you can be successful. That there are other pathways, that we have programs in high schools, have programs at our state colleges, have apprenticeships, working with private industry, where people that develop skills do very well. So for example, since I became governor, we went from producing about 600 truck drivers a year to now about, I think 3,000 a year. Those people that are getting there, they're making $100,000 driving these big rigs. I mean, first of all, it's not easy work, but when you have those skills, you're in demand. You look in this part of the state, people that come out that have the skills associated with aviation, aerospace, you can go right out of high school and get really, really good jobs. You can go after a short training period. You can do state college and go and do very well. So our mission has been to be the #1 state in workforce education by the end of the decade. We were in the bottom half of states when I became governor, and we may not, some people say we're #1 now. I'm not sure that we've gotten there yet, but we have zoomed up in terms of workforce education, and it's meaningful. And it's better to have those pathways and let people choose for the young people in particular, but it's also better for our economy and economic development because people look, they see what's going on in Florida, and they know Florida's committed to producing a quality workforce that they're going to be able to use. So we've spurred more investment into the state. There have been companies that have done more here because they see our emphasis on workforce education. Now, of all the different things that we've promoted, one of the ones we've leaned into the most has been nursing education. and part of the reason is just important. My mom was a nurse for 40 plus years, and I remember as a kid, I'd have strangers come up to me thanking me for how, for her taking care of them. And so it really makes a difference in the patient experience, and especially in these very difficult situations as you get nurses in critical care situations or for the pediatrics. I mean, these are really, really major things, and to have good quality people there, you really can't put a price tag on it. I mean, it really, really is meaningful. And so that's just true, I think, overall. But then what we saw, especially during COVID, is you saw a massive nursing shortage all around the country. You've developed a cottage industry where when you'd have like a COVID wave in one part of the country, more hospitalizations, they would be bringing in these private nurses from other places, contract nurses, paying a lot of money. So some of them did very well, but it was this really strange situation. And so, that obviously is not something that you want to do. So we knew that this was something that was important, period. We knew it was something that, given how things have moved around the country, that there was going to need to up our game on producing quality nurses. But then, because Florida's growing, the demand was going to even be more. And so we set out to do something about it. And as much as we're proud of all the other workforce initiatives we've done, and we've done since 2019, $8.5 billion to various workforce education programs. We've never done that much in the history of the state. This nursing commitment is really, really significant. And so we understand there's a lot of different specializations. Not every nursing pathway is the same. There are some that require more training than others. Some, of course, at our state colleges, but also at our state universities. So we said we want to go all in with that. We have over 3 million registered nurses in the state of Florida right now, and yet we still need to produce more. So a couple years ago, I approved $125 million for the creation of 2 initiatives to support nursing programs as well as their healthcare partners across the state of Florida. So we started with $100 million to establish what we call the pipeline program, prepping institutions, programs, employers, and learners through incentives for nursing education. And the goal was to reward colleges and universities for nursing education programs based on student achievement and student success. We also did $25 million to establish the Linking Industry to Nurse Education Fund, the LINE Fund, for schools to recruit faculty and clinical for their nursing programs, with funds matched dollar for dollar by healthcare partners in their community. So you're facilitating collaboration between healthcare partners and educational institutions, and then having those graduates placed into these job openings as soon as they graduate. So these 2 programs provide funds for nursing student scholarships, faculty recruitment and retention, equipment, and simulation centers. And I've toured some of these where you go and they simulate emergency room situations. They simulate all these situations, which is pretty incredible. It probably wasn't something they were able to do at that level, 20, 30 years ago. Now, the funding for these 2 programs was renewed in full in 2023. And this year, we did not only an approval, but we added $5 million for the LINE program. So we now have $130 million in our current fiscal year going to both of these initiatives. So just since 2022, we've invested close to $400 million in nursing education alone. I don't think anyone else in the country has been able to do that. Now, because of these investments, enrollment in Associate of Science and nursing programs at our state colleges has increased by 25%. Additionally, the number of those completing the course increased by 24%. And so I'm pleased to announce with that type of record, we're going to be supporting, when we do the budget next year, a full renewal of these programs in the upcoming fiscal year. Now, many of our state colleges have received millions of dollars in nursing education funds through these programs. Right here at Daytona State College, between Pipeline and Line, they've received $9 million towards nursing education, and that's been used well, and I know they're making a lot of it. Just here, for example, Daytona State, $1.9 million awarded through the LINE program has been matched in full by community partners Halifax Health, who donated $1 million, and Advent Health, who's donated $900,000. Now, these funds have been used to purchase lab equipment and software to prepare nursing students for real-world scenarios, as well as to fund nursing scholarships. Meanwhile, funds from community partners have been used to establish permanent endowed funds to support students struggling with coursework or with clinical skills. And for our state universities, we've invested $46 million over the last 2 years to enhance their nursing programs through both pipeline and line. And these funds have expanded the capacity of our state university nursing programs, so we now have 1,800 nursing graduates. That is a record high for our state university system. And it's not just producing graduates, but it's producing quality graduates. Our state university system of Florida has an average passing rate for the major nurse exam of 92%. The national average is only 90%. And we have at Florida Gulf Coast University down in Southwest Florida, 100% passage rate, 98% passage rate at University of Florida, 97% passage rate at University of Central Florida. So those are really, really good numbers, and we're proud. So we're doing this because it's the right thing to do, because this is an important profession. You want to have good quality people there, but we really could have found ourselves far behind the 8 ball if we had just kind of sat and just assumed that it would work itself out, because I'm not sure that's the case. I think with the growth of the state, with the changes overall in the nursing profession, we would have been at a really, really significant disadvantage. And so this almost $400 million just since 2022 is producing major results. These programs are working, and the state of Florida is better off as a result of what the legislature appropriated and what I signed into law. And so with that, I'm happy to invite up some of our speakers. So we'll start with Education Commissioner Manny Diaz.
Good morning. It's great to be with you here and the governor talking about these nursing initiatives. Once again, the governor mentions the growth with about 1,200 people coming to the state every day. We see these issues pop up. But one thing with this governor's track record is every time there's an issue to tackle, he doesn't just talk about it, he takes action. And Governor DeSantis saw there was a need for more nurses, especially coming out of the COVID pandemic, and decided to act. Since 2022, when these programs were created, he's signed more than $380 million in funding towards the line and pipeline programs with, as the governor mentioned, $130 million this year alone. The funding has created an immense opportunity for those seeking a career in the medical field, and our state colleges play a fundamental role in providing these opportunities, just like right here at Daytona State College. It has also paved the way for important public-private partnerships, as you're going to hear and the governor mentioned here today, where companies matching state dollars provided through the LINE program to play an active role in enhancing the own talent pipeline. It's really important to have these partnerships. When you see an investment from the state to address a problem, it can't just be the state tackling this. And you have partners in the field here who understand exactly what is going on in the field and partnering with our state colleges and our state universities to solve these issues. The pipeline program has incentivized success, rewarding high-achieving nursing programs with funds to further expand and serve more students, and clearly these programs are working. To give you an example, from 21-22 to 23-24, enrollment, as the governor mentioned, in the Associate of Science nursing programs at Florida College System institutions increased 25%. That is from 12,456 to 15,636. Additionally, the percentage of completers increased by 24%. That is from 2,595 to 3,214. The number of licensed practical nurses also increased from 2020-21 to 23-24, with over 1,200 individuals earning their LPN certificate. This is important in the field of medicine, especially when you have a growing state. We understand that when you go seek medical attention, especially in the primary areas and in some specialized areas, you're really, the brunt of it is being carried by our nurses. And it's so important to see this continuing to grow with the population of Florida. By supporting these education programs, we're not only helping meet an industry need, but also creating opportunities for Floridians to get access to high-demand career paths. It is innovative programs like Line and Pipeline that are propelling Florida towards the governor's goal of being the number one state in workforce education by 2030. I don't know if we're there yet, but I think you're right, Governor. I think we're clearly on our way. And I want to highlight our state colleges, if I'm being a little biased here, Chancellor, but colleges like Daytona State are really the blue-collar workers in this space. And really, I'm proud of the response that they've had to each one of these issues, not only just in nursing, but semiconductors, broadband, anything that becomes an issue. For the state to grow, we have to have a workforce, and I'm proud of the response of our state colleges. They play a crucial role in making that goal happen, and colleges like Daytona State are making a difference by making higher education, a long-term career pathway, more accessible. As the governor likes to mention, not everybody is going to be suited to go through a 4-year program, and these programs at our state colleges are providing that pathway for our students and for those going into the workforce, not just traditional students, but those that are changing career paths and those who don't have the time to really be enrolled in a 4-year program. Having said that, I think our university system is also doing a fantastic job, clearly by our #1 ranking and by what you're seeing produced, into the economy and into the workforce. So thank you, Governor, for your unwavering support for these programs, not just in nursing, not just with Line and Pipeline, but across the board. That's making Florida the best place to work and the best place to live. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I just want to echo what our governor has said. What we have seen, particularly since the pandemic, when blue states shut down, locked down, is a significant number of people that have come to the state of Florida, the free state of Florida, to enjoy their freedom. And what that has done is it has put a demand on key industries, such as healthcare, and in particular nursing. Thanks to the leadership of Governor DeSantis and our legislature, we have put in the programs to meet that need, and our industry partners have stepped up to work with us in doing that. And I will just echo another comment that the governor made. We are the top-ranked higher education system, and that includes the college system and the state university system together in the entire country. We are the most affordable higher education system in the entire country. For an in-state undergraduate student, there is no state that has lower tuition than Florida, and our tuition is about 50% lower than the typical state average for an undergraduate in-state student. We have kept tuition flat because of the leadership of Governor DeSantis. And I'll take it and put some context around that. Florida is the last state where you can finish your studies in the spring semester, spend your summer working full-time at a minimum wage job, and at the end of your summer working, have earned enough money to pay for your fall and your spring tuition and fees. We're the last state you can work your way through college. And that's something to be proud of. When you look at the metrics for our system and you compare them to other states, something that jumps out at you is if you Google if you Google graduation rate, just go into Google, put in college graduation rate, you'll start getting the statistics for each state. What you won't know unless you dig into that number is that's not a 4-year graduation rate. In higher education, the standard is now to report that in a 6-year graduation metric. And if you plug that in, you'll find across the nation the graduation rate, 6-year graduation rate, it's about 62%. In Florida, we expect our students to graduate in 4 years, not 6. Our 4-year graduation rate for our system is 64%, which means we're doing more in 4 years in this state than the typical state is doing in 6 with their students. And what does that mean? Our graduates are starting their lives sooner, they're entering their careers sooner, they're able to start their families and get married sooner, they're able to buy their first home sooner, and they're able to contribute to the economy sooner than in other states. And that's part of the reason our state's had such great economic growth under the leadership of Governor DeSantis. And when we're talking about high-paying jobs, nursing is right there at the top. Nursing graduates earn wages higher than the typical degree that we find in our system, with a median salary above $72,000. Our typical graduate is able to graduate, find a job in the economy, and they're usually making around $50,000. But nursing graduates have a brighter future because it is a skill that is more in demand. And so those opportunities are there waiting for them. And because our education system is of high quality, as was mentioned earlier, our passage rate on the exam is higher than the national average, 92% versus 90%. You heard FGCU mentioned with a 100% pass rate. That was not an anomaly. I don't know what they've done down there, but they have found the secret sauce because their pass rate has been 100% for more than 5 years. That's something to be proud of. Our SUS systems offer 40 nursing programs at 10 different institutions, and we have an accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing program where you can come in and earn your degree in little more than a year. We also have graduate certificates and advanced nursing degrees. The future is very bright in this state, and it is very bright for our nursing students and our nursing graduates, thanks to the hard work of our state colleges, our universities, the leadership of our governor, the leadership of our legislature, and our private industry partners who are helping us along the way. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Fiesel. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of your hospital, Halifax Health. Governor, thank you so much for being here today. Chancellor, Commissioner, thank you for coming and joining us to celebrate a magnificent achievement, the funding from the line grants, linking industry to nursing education. Most of the numbers have already been rattled off. I consider myself a numbers guy. So I want to challenge these universities in South Florida. Daytona State College last year had a pass rate on their NCLEX of 99.1%. This past year it was 98%. So game on, South Florida. All right, I want to thank the Board of Commissioners here at Daytona State College. I want to thank the Foundation Board at Daytona State College. I want to thank the board at Halifax Health. Dr. Rick Lentz is here with us today to celebrate this occasion. You know, the history of Daytona State College in Halifax goes way back. 24 years ago, I came here, and Daytona State College was producing 30 nurses. I came over, sat down, had a conversation with leadership, and they said, what can we do to help our community, to help Halifax Health? I said, can you double the size of your nursing program? They said, absolutely. Give me some adjunct faculty, 2 years, and we'll do it. And they did it. That was 30 nurses a year. Today, the nursing slots at Daytona State College are over 400 and expanding. As I said, most of the numbers have been mentioned here. $400 million, that's a tremendous investment, Governor. Thank you. Halifax Health has been a part of that in matching the funding to the tune of $3 million since 2019. I also want to mention, and I appreciate the fact that Advent Health has recently partnered to be a part of that, as the Governor mentioned, putting in $900,000. We appreciate what they have done. And Daytona State College has always responded to the needs of the healthcare industry. As Halifax Health has grown, 24 years ago, we had a hospital here in Daytona. We built a hospital and expanded into Port Orange. We're now into Deltona with our partnership with the University of Florida. Another example of partnering with high-caliber educational institutions to bring high-quality health care to our community. Daytona State College has been a wonderful partner in helping us to fulfill not only the registered nursing programs, but the certified nursing programs, the respiratory therapists, the practical nurses, the entire pipeline. And by investing in our local people, they're more likely to stay here in our community, work in our community, and this thing such as brain drain doesn't happen here in Volusia County because of your investment in what we do each and every day. In closing, I want to say that the end result of the last couple of years has been at Halifax Health since 2022. We've hired 386 nurses from this program here at Daytona State College. Many of those have entered into our nursing residency program. You say, what's a nursing residency program? Just like when a doctor graduates from medical school, they pick a specialty that they want to go into, and some of them spend 3 to 7 years in that specialty. Same thing is true with our nurses. We pair them with a specialty. They go through another semester of school, basically, in that specialty, learning what goes on around the hospital, so they understand where the lab work is, why it's taken so long to get this radiology results back, what's going on with pharmacy. So it expands their horizon, and it's been a wonderful program for retention, because just because you hire these individuals doesn't mean they stay with you if they're not engaged in what you do on a day-to-day basis. So the nursing program here at Daytona State College is top-notch, and I want to thank Tom Labasso for his commitment to our community and to our healthcare industry. I want to thank Dr. Colin Chesley, as well as Amy Locklear for their commitment and partnership. So with that, I once again want to thank you, Governor. Thank you, Commissioner, Chancellor, our legislators here, our senators, our representatives, as well as the Foundation Board. And with that, I will step aside. But before I do that, I want to introduce a proud team member of Halifax Health, but also a Daytona State College nursing student, and she's here to knock it out of the park. Her name is Alexis Shea. Alexis?
Hello, everyone. Good morning. As Mr. Fiesel said, my name is Alexis Shea. I'm a second-year student at Daytona State's Associate in Science of Nursing program. I've been an employee at Halifax for almost 3 years now, working in women and infant health. Throughout my time working at Halifax, I've been given some of the most wonderful opportunities, from building patient interaction skills to playing checkers with a sick child in pediatrics, making their day more than just a boring visit in the hospital. Thanks to the Education to Employment Scholarship, I've been able to pursue my nursing studies without the burden of financial concerns. This opportunity has allowed me to devote my full attention to my coursework, which I'm deeply grateful for. As a result, I hold a title of a member of the Alpha Delta Nu Honor Society, and I have been a Dean's List honoree since being in the nursing program. Without this opportunity from Halifax and the Line Grant, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish these goals to the best of my ability. I just wanted to take one moment to thank everyone that is here and came to listen to me. I wanted to thank Daytona State for their hard work and dedication to their students. Nursing school is hard, but it isn't impossible, and with the people back there, they make it all worth it. And I would also like to thank Halifax for giving me the ability to live out my dream. Ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be a nurse, and now I'm living my dream. And as well to the governor today for coming here so we could all celebrate this great opportunity. So thank you, guys.
Great job. Well, thanks. It's a great success. We're gonna obviously got more to do. We're going to continue doing it, and you know, especially when you just look overall. I mean, Ray Rodriguez talking about the graduation rates now of over a 6-year period, and we do it over 4, and we're still ahead of the rest of the country. You know, it used to be back in the day, people would say, we might as well stick around for another football season. I guess people don't really have that incentive as much anymore. We'll see what happens, you know. Hope springs eternal. Maybe, you know, if you go to University of Georgia, you might as well stick around for another football season because they're going to be pretty good. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, yes, we want you out in 4 years. We want to get that done, and I think that is a really, really great metric to be able to tout. And then the nursing in particular has been really special. I think that we're attracting great people. The programs are solid. They're producing folks that have great skills and it's already making a difference, but I mean, just think of the number of people's lives that are going to be affected over the next 20, 30, 40 years because of the students that are coming through these pipelines. So it's really, really meaningful. I think the legislature was right to step up when we asked them to do it, and we did. It was interesting, though. You know, I've been talking about this nursing for a few years, and when we did the program, it was successful. People see we're doing a lot of money. And so we did it again in this current year's budget, but I noticed in the budget, it was like you had the big stuff, and then like it seemed like people like, oh, the governor likes nursing. So if they could like take $500,000 and write nurse on it, they would think like, oh, you're going to get this here, just throw up a bunch of nurse. And I'm like, well, no, we gotta do it in ways that are really going to be impactful. So we made sure to streamline it and get it where it needed to be. But I'm excited about the progress, and I'm excited about opportunities for the future. So thanks to what you're doing here at Daytona State, thanks to what we're doing with our healthcare partners, thanks to the other state colleges who have leaned in on this, and of course our state university producing a record number of graduates. That's really, really impressive. Okay, with that, I'm happy to take some questions. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Governor. So you talk about the record number of graduates, of nursing graduates, which is great, and their skills and everything, but at least personally, I know this was an experience for my sister and a lot of the graduates down in South Florida. It took her about a year to find a job after she graduated. She actually found one last week, but I know several of her friends, it also took about 6 months for them to find a job. So it looks like there's more so a shortage of experienced nurses. What are you doing to help these new graduates make sure they find a job?
Well, I think that you did see a kind of a big turnover in the profession through COVID. There were people who no longer were working at their hospital or had moved on. They'd work for contract companies, and I don't blame them for that. I mean, you literally had nurses that were working for a hospital, making whatever they were making, probably not enough, be able to sign up with a contract agency, work the same job for 2 to 3 times what they were making. Of course people are going to do that. I don't begrudge that at all. But then people would get sent around, and it was a little bit more challenging just from the overall perspective. And so you have seen from those do. But I think if you look at these programs, this runs the gamut. You have people that are coming in relatively short in training, and then some that are doing extensive training over many, many years. And so I think that this is something that is bearing fruit already. Now, one thing that factors in, so we're talking about workforce education, and it's important, but we've now, especially in Southern Florida, if you're a nurse, if you're a police officer, you're a teacher, you need to be able to afford to do that, right? It's like, obviously everyone wants to make as much money as possible. Some of these things are not going to make you millionaires. But what are you going to be able to get a place to live and all this? And so we've done a lot to where you're seeing an increase in supply for, say, housing that's more affordable, particularly in some of those areas that are difficult. And part of it is there wasn't as much supply being added. There's a lot of demand to live there. But you don't want a situation where you have to commute an hour just to be able to be a police officer or a nurse or a teacher. And so we did that a couple years ago with the Live Local, about a year and a half ago with that. When we signed that, that is making a difference. You're seeing more supply come online to just make it more affordable so that people can actually do these jobs. And the thing is it's just, one, that's the right thing to do. But two, if communities want to have good law enforcement, good fire, good teachers, good nurses, you have to make sure that they have opportunities to be able to afford it. And we also did the Hometown Heroes program, where we had nurses and teachers and police officers that were able to get some of these mortgages that made sense for them so that they can buy their first home. And we benefited a lot of people from that, and it's something that we're really, really proud of. And then just looking long term about, okay, if you're working in this profession, like say you have a nurse married to like a police officer, you're going to be able, first of all, you have a family, you have 100% school choice in Florida, so you choose where that money goes. If you want to send them to your local school, fine. If you want to send them to charter school, fine. If you want to send them to private, fine. You have the ability to do that, and that's regardless of income, because I think what we saw because the program initially was for more low income, which it should have been, but you have folks who are working dual income households and maybe combine the nurse and the police officer be making, say, like over 100,000 and wouldn't be eligible for this. Well, now everybody's eligible. The money follows the student. So that's something that's really meaningful. And then with the universities being so affordable, you want your kids to go to college, you really do not have, as a parent, to contribute very much, if anything, because a student could work. If that's what they need to do, they could work, and our tuition's low enough, you can still afford that. And oh, by the way, on Bright Future scholarships, our top performing students go for free, and one notch below that, you get 75% off your tuition. We also have programs like Florida Prepaid, which this is interesting, and we're going to hopefully do an announcement about more along these lines coming up. People can pay in, over the years, and then when their kid gets to be of college age, they're guaranteed to go in to one of these universities. And because we've not allowed tuition increases, what they found was over the years that they were collecting more money than they really needed. And so our prepaid has actually sent out massive numbers of refunds to families. Now, what other state would do that? If you contributed in New York and they had a surplus, they would spend that faster than you can say it. They would never rebate to the people. But we've done, and we're working on another round of that. Hope to be able to have an announcement on that soon. So these are just all things about, when you're talking about workforce education, there's serious needs. We want people to be able to have opportunities. We want that to be filled. But it's also part of a broader approach that we've taken to really make, especially in the face of all the inflation we've seen in the economy over the last 3.5 years, largely caused by the federal government and its policies. That's just the reality. So in all these different things, I think it's been very I mentioned the child, the baby, no tax on any baby items at all. Now, first of all, people go through a lot of diapers, so this adds up, but some of these items like strollers are really expensive. It's amazing. I mean, I remember we had our first, I'm looking into the strollers, and it's like sticker shock how much these things cost. So people are being able to save there. Think about the tax relief we've done 2 years in a row. 50% reduction in tolls for all of our commuters. I mean, there's parts of Central Florida that have a lot of tolls, especially as you get closer to Orlando. People are going to work. They get dinged every day, sometimes multiple times. Well, at the end of the month, they're just rebating you half of that cost through our toll relief program. And that is really to help out blue-collar folks, people that are serving in these roles. So I'm proud that it's not just, hey, nurses are important, we want to produce more, or police are important, and we have great programs to recruit good police officers. I know the sheriff was here. You've used the bonus program to be able to bring people, so people can come in from other states. They get a $5,000 bonus to join Florida law enforcement. The county, the cities, and even the state of Florida, you're eligible for all of those. And not only that, that applies to new recruits. So you can have someone graduate from Daytona State. If they want to go in and they're a sworn law enforcement officer working for Volusia County Sheriff, they get the bonus too, because we think it's a noble profession. We want to be able to recruit a lot of people. And so all of those I think have been important. But man, we've taken within, when you're cutting taxes in Florida, we don't have an income tax. So it's harder to make an impact. I'm glad we don't have an income tax. We're not going to. But if we did, I would just slash that till kingdom come, right? So you got to do all these other things, and that's what we're doing. So I'm proud of the effort. I think that the legislature has stepped up and provided a lot of meaningful relief to people. There's obviously a lot that needs to be done nationally. Some of these policies really need to be changed because they have not worked, and it's pushed a lot of, I think, stress on people when they see grocery prices that have escalated so much over the last 3.5 years, and some point, doubling down on that just isn't going to work. One thing I'll say too, before I just on a different topic, is because I saw over the weekend Vice President Harris attacking Donald Trump for going to Arlington National Cemetery on the anniversary of the Abbey Gate. And, the media's hit on it as well. You're there taking photos, you're making it like a campaign thing. And first of all, he was invited by the Gold Star families. He didn't just show up to make a scene. They invited him to be there. They asked him to pose for photos with the family members of the fallen. So I don't see, the outrage, but here's the thing. If people like Harris and the media are going to express more outrage at that than the people that made them Gold Star families in the first place, something is wrong. That is unacceptable. Thanks, guys.